What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex here, and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. Last weekend, I saw Jason Bourne, and Jason Bourne is the 5th installment in the Bourne franchise from Universal Pictures. It is also the 4th film where Matt Damon reprises his role as a title character in this 5-film franchise. Now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, that's only 4 out of 5 films. What is the other film? Well, before this film, there was a film called The Bourne Legacy, which came out in 2012 based off of the novel of the same name from author Eric Van Lustbader. It starred Jeremy Renner as a character named Aaron Cross, but his story has nothing to do with the Jason Bourne story. Even though it is the second most recent installment in the Bourne franchise, it is actually a spin-off film, so you really don't have to worry about the events of The Bourne Legacy. The Bourne story actually started with The Bourne Identity in 2002, directed by Doug Liman, followed by The Bourne Supremacy in 2004, and then followed by The Bourne Ultimatum in 2007. Both those sequels were directed by Paul Greengrass, and they made up a trilogy which were actually based off of the novels of the same name from Robert Ludlum. Actually, I have to say that they're loosely based off of the novels from Robert Ludlum, but it made up that trilogy. Now, for all the people who have never seen any of the previous films, all you gotta know is this, just to clear up any confusion. This film that's out in theaters right now, Jason Bourne, is a direct sequel to The Bourne Ultimatum. It has nothing to do with the previous film, The Bourne Legacy. It is the film that follows immediately after the events of The Bourne Ultimatum. And another thing you need to know is that Jason Bourne, as far as I know, is not based off of any novel. It's written to just follow up as a story right after the events of Bourne Ultimatum, and then they continue from then on. Alright, so that's all you really need to know. And Paul Greengrass, who directed The Bourne Supremacy and Bourne Ultimatum, is back to direct for this 5th installment. Alright, so anyways, how is the movie? Well, I'll let you know that I love the Bourne franchise, Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, and Bourne Ultimatum. I think the Bourne Ultimatum is the best in the franchise, and actually it still is. But what I loved about those films is that it's really intense, it's very engaging, and it's always on the move. It's always like very, very like a fast-paced type of film. It's no different in Jason Bourne. Paul Greengrass keeps the pacing very, very smooth. It keeps on flowing. It's a very fast-paced film. It's action-packed. It engaged me from beginning to end, and at the end of the day, it's very, very entertaining. And why is it entertaining? It's because they use a very, very generic formula that worked in the previous film, The Bourne Ultimatum. The Bourne Ultimatum was really, really fast-paced, and it follows a formula that kept on evolving since The Bourne Identity. And well, they kept that formula with Jason Bourne, and it works. I don't mind that they keep on repeating a lot of the cliche events that happened in the previous films. I find that it totally works. The chases, the car chases, the fights, all that surveillance stuff, the fact that Jason Bourne is always one step ahead of the people chasing him, and they always find a female character that is out there to help him, and then there's always going to be an asset who's determined to get him and potentially assassinate him, and there's always a guy at the top that wants to bring him back in. You know, it's a very, very cliche and formulaic thing, but it still works. And why does it work? It's because of the direction. It's always kept at a very, very constant pace. There's no time to breathe. He's always on the run, just as he's always been on the run in the original films. So they keep up with that tradition, but they make it a little bit more big budget in the sense that there's a lot more action. It is very, very action-packed. There's a lot going on, from motorcycle chase to high-speed chase to like a lot of fighting. And I really enjoyed this film. Like, I really enjoyed that Matt Damon's character, Jason Bourne, has gone through quite a bit, and what we see in this film is quite an evolution of his character. I find that even though he doesn't really communicate verbally. In fact, I think he's only got 25 lines. At least that's what a lot of the media is saying, that he's got 25 lines in this film, which is actually very minimal. I find that he communicates the most effectively in this movie, and is done through his emotions, his lack of expressions, his lack of emotion, and of course through his fists. He is communicating without even actually verbally communicating, and it's all done through facial expressions and of course the physical his physical communication, if you know what I'm saying. And I think he does that really well. In the original film, The Bourne Identity, he was really confused, and he's very verbal. He's always talking, always asking questions. Then in the second one, he gets a little bit more comfortable. In the third one, he's a little bit more cool. But in this one, he's a hardened spy on the run, and you really see that about his character. Matt Damon puts on an excellent performance, and I like that he doesn't have a whole lot of lines in this film. It really fits with the character. The character has evolved, and it's something that really is evident in terms of character development, if you know what I'm saying. And also, even though it's very formulaic, like I said before, it works. In every one of the films, you gotta have a female character that helps them. It was Franca Portente, and then it was Julia Stiles, and now in this film, it's Alicia Vikander. And then you gotta have the head up guy like Chris Cooper or Brian Cox or David Strathairn. In this film, it's Tommy Lee Jones, and then of course you have to have the asset that is out there to take him out, like Clive Owen, Carl Urban, and the actor who played Desh in The Bourne Ultimatum. Well, now it's Vincent Cassel, and you know what? I really don't mind that. They don't really bring a whole lot of new elements into this thing. They just make it bigger. And it works. I was really entertained, and I was always on the edge of my seat. The music, the fast-paced direction, and all the action that was in this film really made this a solid installment for the Bourne franchise. So I'm really happy with the direction they took, and I'm looking forward to see what they come up with next. I want to see more of these Bourne films, and I want to see where Jason Bourne ends up next. And I even want to see more of Aaron Cross. But anyways, is this film perfect? No, not really. It's very formulaic. Even though I think it works, even though I feel it works, it's still formulaic, and they really don't introduce anything new. As for the fighting of, the fight scenes, that's where I find it's the weakest. And that is because if you've seen any of the previous Bourne films, with the exception of the Bourne Legacy, you will notice that a lot of the fight scenes are very edited in a very rapid fire style. It's a lot of cutting, and then also it's shot very up close, and it's got a lot of shaky handheld camera work. And it still is the same, it still is the same thing for Jason Bourne. The style of the cinematography during the fight scenes hasn't changed, and I find that it hurts the film, because even though I'm used to it, and I can make out what's going on, I still don't like it. And that's just Paul Greengrass's style, and it's consistent with the rest of the film, because the rest of the film is, you don't even have takes that last more than 3 seconds. It's a very fast-paced film, but once it gets to the fight scenes, it's just too much cutting, too much shakiness, and a lot of times the camera goes out of focus, and it's just hard to make out what's going on. And even though I don't mind it that much, I find a lot of people in the audience will find it quite annoying. But anyways, that's the main weakness that I have for this film. I actually kind of hope they get a new director who can actually follow the pacing of the film, but shoot the action differently. Alright, that's what I'm hoping for. But anyways, I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. I do recommend it if you are a fan of the franchise, and if you're a fan of action films in general, especially spy films. I highly recommend it, because I had a really great time, and I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And there you have it. That's all I got to say in this video. And so, if you want to see more reviews, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. I need to do some pretty wild and hilarious things. One of those things is, of course, cast Sylvester Stallone. In the first one,